Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's daily analysis video, brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. All right, everybody, into the action we go today on this Thursday, December 30th, 2021. Take a look at the little bit of a sell off here into the end of the day. Markets were really going sideways with very, very light volume. Then we've seen a little bit of selling pressure in the last 30 to 45 minutes, and the markets are hitting lows of the day on the spiders. Now, I will say this. Overall, this is not a big move. We're down about 68 cents, now 70 cents on the SPY. But again, just kind of interesting. You wonder if there's some jockeying into year end. There's some portfolios that are kind of being trimmed a little bit into year end. You just don't know exactly what the cause is here. But ultimately, a little bit of selling pressure. We're now down a buck, for instance, on the spiders. So seeing a little bit of a quicker sell off here into the end of the day. Now, buck 25. Wow, nice little dump here into the end of the day. All right, so we'll see where things go. In the scheme of things, it looks like a nasty sell off. But if you zoom out on the chart, look at that, folks. I mean, you're basically just stuck in here. I would just point this out here is that if you connect these lows right here to here and here, you are piercing that trend line. So you're still staying in the upper range, but certainly some decent little sell pressure into the end of the day. Markets close in about 10 minutes from now. All right, so I'll take you into the end of the day, folks. We'll see where things go. Notice the volume, even with this little late day sell off, 37.5 million. Again, light volume is the norm for pre-New Year's, between Christmas and New Year's type action. All right. The big story of the day today, folks. The big story, there's no doubt about it, was the beaten down tax loss selling stocks ripping higher so fast, in fact, that I wanted to buy Peloton. And I just, by the really within seconds of the open, it was off to the races. And Peloton having a monster move to the upside. Take a look here, folks, on PTON. And again, just a huge move. It's coming in a little bit, but look at that, up 7% on the day. And you can see it actually opened flat to slightly lower today, and then it just ripped. And honestly, by the time I kind of got situated and was ready to buy, it was already pushing up. It obviously wasn't up this much, but that is what we talk about when we say tax loss selling concludes. Now, it certainly hasn't fully concluded. As you guys saw, I did some tax loss selling today myself, but I would generally say that the big money probably took care of it earlier in the week, and therefore you're now into just some smaller selling pressures now, which is why a lot of these stocks are popping. And we can't not mention the Chinese stocks, folks. I mean, these are epically big moves. Look at this, 10% on Alibaba. Take a look at Baidu today, up 10.5%, and those are coming off of their highs as the market is selling off here in the last little bit of trading. I mean, you could go to some of these other ones, like even a small play like IQ is having a huge move, still up 17%, and that's off of the highs. It was up over 20% at one point. And that's the beauty of it, folks. When, whether there's good news out of China or whether it's just tax loss selling, once the selling stops, these things can rip to the upside so fast because they are so beaten down. All right. So again, wild stuff. No doubt about it. Listen, it is what it is, and I'm glad we're in these stocks right now because certainly on a day where there's not a whole lot of stuff going on, markets are down a little bit. We're seeing some good gains in some of these Chinese stocks that we've been holding, and again, that is good to see. I love seeing these big wide bar candles on the daily chart because they tend to make a pivotal point or a pivotal low in the stocks, where again, technically, now you have a defined bottom to trade off of, and it could be a major pivot reversal point for names like IQ and Baidu and Alibaba and Futu and PDD. And I mean, you name it, all of these folks. And again, Pinduoduo, another big one here. Let's take a look at PDD. I mean, again, it's a dime a dozen. These all are having epically big moves. Pinduoduo up. And by the way, I mean, these aren't small companies. Baidu, Alibaba, Pinduoduo are, large companies, but they have certainly been hammered over the last, really the last since early this year. All right. So again, just kind of keep you guys posted on that. Well, I'm curious to see tomorrow and then early in the year, does the momentum continue? Look at the Pinduoduo chart, $200 plus stock, earlier this year, bottomed out basically in the 50s here. Nice little double bottom as of today and yesterday. And again, we'll watch to see if that momentum can carry it. The first resistance on Pinduoduo is going to be here and at gap fill right up here. So basically $75 to $80 target, and you're only at 59.50 right now on Pinduoduo. All right. Couple of the other stocks making moves. Take a look at Viacom. Viacom, nice move there. This is another tax loss selling stock that looks like it subsided a little bit, and we're seeing it up decently. Not a huge move, but 3.8%, not too shabby for a market that is hanging on the downside here today. All right, so what the heck did I do today? What did we do today, folks? Because I did a lot with you guys. This was a very active day, partially because it was tax loss selling day. And I want to explain my methodology here because I think it makes a lot of sense for us. And again, it kind of keeps us with exposure to what we wanted to be exposed to, but also allows us to offset some of our massive gains from 2021 by taking some of those losses. So again, I sold SDS, VXX, SPXU, and SOX. Okay, so think about that. I unloaded the ETFs that tend to kind of degrade towards zero because again, those number one, they had good losses to them, so they would offset some of our gains. And also, at this point when they're down, I mean, it's going to take a monumental bounce to get back. So take those off the table. But the real strategy here was this. So what did I do? I sold SOX. What did I do next? I bought or I added to my short on SMH. So do you guys see what I did here? All right. How about this? I sold my VXX, but I bought UVXY. Do you see what I did there? All right. If you don't see it, I will explain it. Basically, I sold those ETFs and then I just bought other ETFs with the same exposure. So we could utilize the tax loss. But yeah, do I want to be long volatility going into the new year? Absolutely, I do. So I didn't really want to sell VXX, but this way I could basically just buy UVXY, which is a triple of the VXX, gives us the same exposure, and then we get the tax loss write off as well to knock off of our gains from this year. Same thing with SOX by shorting more SMH, basically getting more exposure to the semis, even though I unloaded some exposure to the semis on the short side. Same thing there. And with the VXX, or I should say with the SDS, I kind of just did DXD. There's other like SM, SH is a one-time short on the S&P, but DXD is just short the Dow. This made a lot of sense to me. We are up a few pennies on this as it's selling off into the end of the day. So again, nice little move there. But again, I hope you guys see the strategy there. All right, it wasn't that I wanted to get out of VXX or the SOX. I still think you're going to see the semis get pounded in the new year. I still think, volatility is way too low for what's going on with the Federal Reserve pulling back on the stimulus and everything like that. But this way we utilize the tax, negation of some of our profits, and we also get into other plays that there's no conflict there. We can do that, doesn't affect the tax purposes, maneuver, and we're good to go. All right. In addition, what else did I do? I added to DRV. I bought, as I said, UVXY. I bought DXD. And as I said to you guys, I picked up this on the SCO. I talked about this via the USO chart. Take a look at the USO, basically kissing that line today. So again, that's that line that I talked about yesterday. It got close. I didn't pick it up on the SCO. Remember, SCO is 2 times short the USO. And in this case, boom, got as close enough for government work, as they say. Boom, let's get in it. And so far, so good. We'll see what oil does. But so far, oil is selling off a little bit here as we're seeing the SCO pop up now at 1247 after a 1230 buy on the SCO. All right, so good stuff there. Love this action here, folks. I love even on this week where the markets are a little on the quieter side, we do get some opportunities here. I'm going to flip back to the spiders. You'll see the spiders continuing to sell off. Let me take off this trend line here. This was my intraday trend line. You'll notice I'm just using one chart this week to do the charts with you versus two. I usually have my day trading and my swing trading chart. But again, I am on a cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean, and I'm using my display, my laptop with my extra monitors. I got monitors that plug in on the USB, so I can basically take 3 monitor setup wherever I go. But again, for ease of sake, it's easier just to use one chart here. And again, I'll be back on Sunday, and the verified live broadcast Sunday night will be on, and we're going to continue rocking into the new year. And by the way, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Let's make it a big one for sure. All right, so again, basically, if you look at this price action, you're selling off a little bit today. But honestly, if you look at the last 3 days on the daily spiders chart, not really a whole lot going on. I mean, there certainly isn't, according to what I'm seeing. And again, I think that's important to note for sure. We'll see if it extends, the downside extends anymore. As of now, I'm not thinking it is until proven otherwise. This could just be jockeying into year end. Is the market eventually going to dump out? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen in the next couple days? Tomorrow being the last day before the new year, and then the first couple days of next week. Honestly, I'm not sure about that. That seems a little far fetched to see that pressure with the big institutions away from the charts. All right, let's go to the Qs, see what the QQQ is doing here. All right, if we look at the Qs, you can see the Qs also seeing a little bit of a sell-off. The Qs were up decently throughout the course of the day. We are now seeing a nice little sell-off come in here on the QQQ, down about $1.30. And again, we're not even taking out yesterday's lows on the Qs, so don't get too excited about it. There is a gap fill here, though. Maybe tomorrow we go down to about 396.80. And there's, by the way, there's the close. So down about $1.25 on the QQQ when all was said and done here. But again, there's a little gap fill right down here. Maybe we could see a sell-off into that. Even that, I think, is somewhat unlikely unless we get some bad news out there. Okay. Let's see what else we have on the radar here as I continue to kind of flip through. Let's go to the spiders one last time. We ended down, looks like down about $1.25, $1.30 on the spiders per the end of the day as well. Let's go to the Russell, the IWM. And you can see the Russell actually today at one point touched this downsloping trend line, then reversed, still closed about flat on the day. But again, interesting that it retested this line here. Eventually, by the way, I do think the Russell has a little bit more upside. If I thought the Russell was going to get pounded down and go straight down, I'd probably buy the TZA, which is 3 times short the Russell. But I still think it could go up to that gap fill, or at least the gap window, which is this one right here. Okay? All right. Let's talk about Bitcoin now. Bitcoin, I have something very interesting to show you here. So let's bring up the Bitcoin chart. Here's your Bitcoin chart. You can see you are having a small bounce today, not anything big, but there is something I kind of think is fascinating that I want to show you guys. So if you see this, so we know there's a bigger head and shoulders pattern here, right? So you have this shoulder, head, and shoulder, right? And I was kind of studying these charts like I always do, and kind of analyzing them, thinking about what the heck's going on here. What does this mean? Is there anything that I can kind of garner, or anything that I need to kind of understand? And just out of curiosity, I was like, okay, well, here was your highest point on the shoulder. It looks almost equal to the highest point right here. So this was your highest candle over here. So I said, all right, well, look, for fun, I'm just going to count this out, right? So you basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22, 23 candles right here to get you to this highest point right here. All right, then I was like, all right, well, let me do that over here. I'm just curious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 as well. So again, how fascinating is that? I mean, think about that, right? So you basically have from this start of the head right here, right? So from here where you started this move up, the highest point of the shoulder was right there, which is basically 23 candles back. So 23 days. This is a daily chart, 23 days. And then if you take this low and you count back, this was your highest point here, 23 days. So I mean, just imagine. I mean, the charts, as I always say to you guys, they always amaze me even. And this is a great example of that. I mean, it is just mind-boggling how everything matches up like that. I mean, again, it doesn't always work like that, but believe it or not, it works out like that more often than you would think, considering charts can be and appear to be so random, but really in reality they are not. So the question this begs me is, this was the high here. Is this the high here? And are we actually going to see sooner than even I think the breakdown of the neckline of the head and shoulders, which would be right here? And again, I don't know. I'm not sure. This is just stuff I'm bringing to your attention. Charts are charts. Right now on Bitcoin, you're still trading within the $46,000 low here and the 52,000 here. So you're trading in a range 46 to 52. That's what you're doing right now. Now, which way it breaks, that's what we're going to watch. That's ultimately got to be the direction it goes. If you break to the downside, you got to assume 42 to 42.5, which is the neckline, will be your first support. And then if it takes out that, bye-bye Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going down hard. You'll have bounces along the way. Huge level at 30,000 right there. But again, I mean, ultimately the head and shoulders, if it plays out, you're talking 17-ish thousand dollar target on Bitcoin. All right, I thought you guys would enjoy that. When I saw it, I was fascinated by it. Let's go back to these charts right here and take a look at gold. Gold having a bounce today. Nice to see gold continuing to kind of hold up relatively well. Look at that closing at the highs of the day on the GLD, up about $1.20. It's down. It looks like it's after hours. It printed 169.70, but closed at 169.80. That is a nice close. Again, all you care about if you're a gold bug like me. And again, I'm not, listen, long term, yes. Obviously, I'm a trader shorter term, but this trend line right here, that's the trend line to break. You break that, I think within a couple months, you go back to this high here. All right, so we'll watch that very, very closely. Next up, let's take a look at silver. Silver today, in terms of movement, did also have a decent little move. Although, interestingly enough, it's not back to this high, even though gold is making a shorter term high. Silver struggling just a little bit in terms of the down move yesterday. Again, I've said this before. I'm a big believer that the economy is not going to hold up as well as the markets expect as the Fed pulls 1.5 trillion a year in stimulus away from the system. And so I wouldn't be surprised if silver lags just a little bit. In fact, wouldn't even be surprising if gold makes a move up and silver even moves down just a little bit in the near term. Although I think long term silver is awesome as well. Okay. Lastly, oil. We kind of covered this already, folks. I shorted oil via buying the SCO today. So again, we'll watch and see how that plays out. But certainly interesting stuff on that front. Again, this should be the pivot point for oil. We'll see if it is. And again, it's certainly the chart dictates that it was a good entry there. We started a position. Obviously, we could add to it if we need to. But my guess is you're going to get another wave of selling in oil in the coming weeks once we're into the new year. All right. On that note, I'm going to bid you farewell for today. I will keep you guys obviously in the loop. Any new trades I do tomorrow. For tax loss selling, some of you guys might wonder if I'm going to do any more. I don't plan on it. All the other positions that I'm in, I continue to like. I like being short Tesla. I like being short. I like being short Apple. I like being short these mega cap tech names and other. I think again they are on borrowed time, and you will see again. Gold should be the best performer in 2022. That means the markets will be lower. I think at some point in 2022, you see at least a 20% drawdown in the stock market. Bitcoin, eventually, I think it goes down at least to 30, maybe even down to that head and shoulder target below 20. And I think gold is going to be the standout. It's going to be the catch-up trade that we have not witnessed in quite some time for gold. And I think, again, you could even be looking in the 2,500 to 3,000 range by year end. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. As always, thanks for being members, and I'll keep you posted.